नमस्ते प्रणाम गीता ध्यान ओ पार्थाय प्रतिबोधितां भगवता नारायणेन स्वयं व्यासेन ग्रथितां पुराणमुनिना मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवतीम् अष्टादशाध्यायिनीम् अम्ब त्वामनुसन्दधामि भगवद्गीते भवद्वेषिणीम्। O Bhagavad Gita, with which Lord Narayana himself gave enlightenment to Arjuna. The ancient sage Vyasa included it in the Mahabharata. O Goddess, showerer of the nectar-like knowledge of non-dualism contained in your 18 chapters. O my affectionate mother, the destroyer of rebirth, I meditate upon thee. Krishna Vandana. वसुदेव सुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम्. Son of Vasudeva, the slayer of Kansa and Chanur, extreme delight for Mother Devaki, O Lord Krishna, the supreme teacher of the universe, my salutations to you. Srimad Bhagavad Gita, we are reading Jnana Vidyaan Yoga, the 7th chapter, and Sri Krishna is teaching us on using the knowledge that we have obtained to reach that stage of ultimate realization. It is just gaining the knowledge is of no use unless and until we put it to realize something which the knowledge has taught us. And here Sri Krishna is telling us why he had taught us to meditate upon him. Why he had taught us to get to this process of deep meditation. And now Sri Krishna is teaching us all the different places where Krishna exists, the Krishna consciousness exists, so that we can meditate and have that ultimate realization, have that eternal realization, the spiritual illumination, the spiritual enlightenment. And in the 10th shloka that we read earlier, Sri Krishna taught us that he is the seed of all living beings. Sri Krishna told us that Bijam Mam Sarva Bhutanam Sanatanam Vidhi Partha. Oh, know for sure, Partha, that I am the eternal seed of all the living beings. And Buddhir Buddhimatam Asmi. I am the intelligence of those intelligent people who have started walking on this path of realization, self-realization, the illumination, spiritual enlightenment. I am that intelligence that is leading them on the path. Because of that intelligence, they have taken up this journey towards the eternal truth. And that intelligence I am. And also, Teja Tejasvinam Aham. I am the Tej, I am the splendor of all those people who have progressed on this path of spirituality, who have progressed on this path of realizing the me. And such people who have progressed, they are sparkling, their physique is sparkling, their personality is glittering, their character is so blissful that all that splendor in such people I am. That's what Sri Krishna has told us in the 10th shloka. Now in the 11th shloka, again Sri Krishna continues about teaching us about his existence in different facets of the creation. Sri Krishna says in this 11th shloka, balaṁ balavatāṁ asmi kāma-rāga-vivarjitam dharmāviruddho bhūteṣhu kāmosmi bharatarṣhabha. Bharatarṣhabha, O great among the Bharatas. Now this is all the family tree of Bharat, which has come down as a Kuru Vansha. All the people of this land of Bharat. Arjuna is considered by Sri Krishna as the best among them. The literal meaning of Bharatarṣhabha is bull, and Bharata is those occupying those living in this country of Bharat. So the best among those living in this land of Bharat, bharatarṣhabha. Why Sri Krishna is addressing Arjuna like that? Because Sri Krishna is talking about a quality called power. Balaṁ balavatāṁ asmi. I am the strength. I am the power of all those powerful people. I am the strength of all those strong people. Now, what kind of strong people? Is it the one who can lift a weight of 100, 200, 300 kgs? Is it who can, do some amazing lifting of the weights? Is it who can take the burden of elephant on his chest? Not that Balavan that Sri Krishna is talking about. Sri Krishna says, Balavam balavatāṁ asmi kāma-rāga-vivarjitam. That is the key. That is the crux of the point of that Balaṁ. Kāma-rāga-vivarjitam. Those who have abandoned, those who have discarded kāma, desire, and raga, attachment. Those strong people. Physical strength, Krishna doesn't give any importance. The people who have discarded desires and attachment, they are the strongest. Because only those people can reach the end point on this path of liberation. Not with raga and kāma. They cannot. With the desires for the worldly things and attachment to worldly things, we cannot even progress from 0 to 1 in that scale. Maybe we can come to point 1, point 2, that's it. And again we have to come back, we have to come back. But having discarded the desire, having renounced the desire and attachment, the vairagya Sri Krishna taught us about, then the person becomes the strongest of the strongest. And Sri Krishna says, I am that strength. I am the strength of those strong people who have conquered desire and attachment. Dharmāviruddho bhūteṣhu kāmosmi bharatarṣhabha. And among the desires, among those who, if they have any desires, I am that desire which is not contrary to the righteousness. So, Sri Krishna says, all desires are not bad. Only the desire towards the worldly enjoyments, the lust and greed, only such desires are detrimental to seekers of liberation. But kāmaha asmi bhūteṣhu dharmāviruddho. All the desires which are aviruddha of the dharma, which are not opposed to righteousness, which are not going against the moral path, those desires, pure desires, those harmless desires that Sri Ramakrishna had told us in one of the examples, those harmless little sweet desires, let me have the seat at the lotus feet of the Lord, that is a desire. Let me have the vision of the Divine Mother, that is a desire. But that is a desire which Sri Krishna says, I am existing in those kind of desires. Not in the desires for lust and greed or the desire for name and fame. No. Those are the worldly desires which are abhorred by the saints and seekers of liberation. So that is one beautiful insight Sri Krishna has given us in this 11th shloka. I am the strength of the strong, devoid of desire and passion. And Sri Krishna says, desires are, for that matter, they are not bad. But in beings, I am also the desire, which is not contrary to dharma, which is not contrary to morality, to ethics, to the righteousness. O chief of bharatarṣhabha, O chief of the Bharatas, O bull among the Bharatavarshya, I am that strength. So this is another beautiful aspect of Bhagavad Gita. The term names used for characters in Bhagavad Gita, they are so specific to the teaching of that shloka. Somewhere Krishna, wherever it is the emotional kind of teaching with affection and love and compassion, Krishna uses those beautiful words like Kaunte, O son of Kunti. But wherever the words of some kind of a strong meaning, they are taught through the shloka. For such shloka, Sri Krishna has used very strong words like Dhananjaya or bharatarṣhabha. So this is where Sri Krishna has addressed Arjuna. This is why Sri Krishna has addressed Arjuna as bharatarṣhabha in this shloka, because he is the person with great power, with great strength. He is the strongest among all the beings, mentally, physically and spiritually. He has got that potential of being, being the strongest among all the beings in this land. Now, kāma or desire is the hankering of the mind for objects that are invisible and not yet obtained. We hanker after the things which we don't have, isn't it? I want this, I want that, and the desire starts. We don't have anything, and the desire for that thing which is not in our possession starts. While raga or passion is the clinging or craving for the visible and obtained objects. It is a desire when you don't have a thing. It is a kāma when we don't have a thing. And it is a raga when we have a thing. That affection, that attachment, that power of that possessive quality that comes to us when we have a thing. So these two, kāma and raga, both are highly detrimental. They are both so dangerous to dwell, to proceed on this path of liberation. That strength is abused which is directed toward fulfillment of desire and passion. That strength is abusive which is making use of this attachment to hold that thing. We cannot let go. On the other hand, the strength utilized on noble and holy causes gets sanctified. Let me have the desire of the lotus feet of the Lord. Let me have attachment for my divine mother. Who can say it is bad? It cannot be bad. The attachment with the divine, the desire. I haven't had a vision of my chosen ideal. Let me have that vision, that intense desire, that yearning. That is most required on this path. That desire, that attachment, that is not bad at all then. On this, take the examples of any of these characters in Mahabharata or Ramayana. Well, Duryodhana for that matter. Duryodhana had intelligence. Duryodhana was strong. But all his intelligence and strength, all his desire and his attachment was totally towards the worldly things. That the Simhasan of Hastinapur, that throne of Hastinapur, that was where his entire mind was attached, and that was his desire. I must have that. Pandavas, they didn't have any such kind of a worldly desire. All they wanted was just some space to live. Although they were the rightful owners of that throne of Hastinapur. Both the parties were equally strong. Both the parties were, for that matter, equally intelligent. But all that strength and intelligence, the Kauravas utilized in a totally negative manner. And Pandavas, they had just surrendered to Sri Krishna. Even when Arjuna in the first chapter had got into that stage of desperation, finally he had just surrendered. He had taken a Sharanagati at the lotus feet of the Lord, saying, "Oh Baba Krishna, you only teach me, you only guide me." And because of that Sharanagati, because of that surrender to Sri Krishna, we are so fortunate to having got this opportunity of reading the Bhagavad Gita, of learning the teachings of Sri Krishna. So that is what happens. How desire and attachment can either lift us spiritually or drown us materialistically. Sri Krishna says, I am the desire and attachment of those strong people. I am the desire which is hankering after the good. I am that desire which is not opposed to righteousness. I exist in those. Desire as such is not a vice. The desire of having a shelter at the lotus feet of the Lord, can anyone say it is a bad desire? But desire of getting involved in lust and greed, having earned money, is not a bad thing, but clinging to that, apparently, yes, bad. Now on this again, Sri Ramakrishna and Holy Mother, they used to give this teaching to their devotees and disciples. One who has money, let him spend for the good of devotees. One who has money, let him spend for the good of devotees. And those who don't have money, what to do? What they will do? Huh? Our Ma used to say, chant the name of the Lord. So have the desire of even chanting the name of the Lord. So that is what Sri Krishna says. I am that kind of desire. Now on this particular teaching of Sri Krishna, what is the teaching of Sri Ramakrishna? Why does the mind deviate when one sits in meditation? We can't concentrate, isn't it? We can't focus on our object of meditation at all. Why is it? Why does it happen? And Sri Ramakrishna says, it is due to base desires. We have so many desires in our mind. We have so many unfulfilled wishes for the material things, not for the divine. So many desires in the mind. It is like Sri Ramakrishna continues this example. A fly sits now on sacramental food and next on the filth. But the case of the bee is totally different. It sits on the blossom or in its hive and nowhere else. We will never see a bee sitting on dung or on dirty places or on filth. We will never see a bee. But housefly? Yes. At one moment it is beautifully sitting on some sweet. She is enjoying the sweetness of that sweet meat. Next moment, we see that fly on some, filthy material, maybe on some dead rat or some filth. That is the difference between the worldly people and the spiritual minded people. The worldly minded sadhakas are like the housefly, but the paramahansas like the bee. The ordinary sadhakas, they will sit for meditation, they will sit for japa with some kind of a hideous thought in their mind. I want to have that, I want to enjoy that, so I am doing this tapas. Sri Ramakrishna says those sadhakas, they are like the housefly. One moment they are on some sweet, another moment they are sitting on filth. But the paramahansas, the spiritual inclined people, they are like the bees. They will never sit on anything unholy. They will never sit which is not clean, which is filth. They will only sit either on the flowers, sucking the honey out of it, or in their beehives. You won't find the bees at any third place. And till the time the bee doesn't find honey in that flower, it will keep on just, making that humming noise. And only when it sits on that flower, the humming noise stops and the bee is filled into that blissful mood of sucking the honey and taking it back to its hive. The former are occasionally devoted, but the later, the ordinary worldly people, they are occasionally devoted. Once in a while, that spirit of tyaga, spirit of vairagya, spirit of bhakti, it will just kind of ignite in their mind. Those are occasional outbursts. But the later, the paramahansas or the spiritually awakened people, they are ever devoted to the Lord. So Sri Krishna says that kind of strength which has conquered the lust and greed, which has conquered the desire and attachment. I am that strength of those strong people. I am the desire of those who are hankering after the lotus feet of the Lord, who are struggling to attain the realization. They may not have attained, fine, but Sri Krishna says, I am that desire. So, this is the 11th Shloka. Sri Krishna taught us again another aspect of the existence of Sri Krishna in this gamut of creation, in this magic of creation, where all Krishna exists. That is our reading of the 11th Shloka for the day. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Sri Krishna Arpanamastu. Jai Sri Ramakrishna. Jai Thakur. Jai Ma. Jai Swamiji.